Craig, we just wanted to know what is workforce optimization and how does it benefit the organization?
So workforce optimization is a broad concept that covers really how we utilize the human resources in our organization. And it covers all aspects of that, from a staffing, scheduling, understanding skill requirements, and matching all that back to the work that needs to be done as part of the organization as well. So determining how best to leverage our human capital against the work that needs to be done. And for areas of the back office, including some of our shared services organizations that are processing non-phone work, that involves also visibility into desktop processing. So understanding exactly how employees are processing work on their desktops, linking that back to some of the other components of workforce optimization, such as performance management or quality monitoring, to really get a 360-degree view of the organization and the employees and how best to leverage those resources against the organizational goals.
You mentioned SSO. Do you think there's a strong need for SSOs of today to implement a workforce optimization system?
I think there is. I think it's something that's definitely coming. And having worked with a lot of organizations in the U.S. as well as some of their shared services or outsourcing units here in Asia Pacific, I definitely see organizations in the U.S. adopting it from an enterprise perspective. And when they think of enterprise, they're not differentiating between work that's being done by their own employees and work that's being done by a shared service or by an outsourcer. They want to understand the full amount of work and the full resource requirements that are necessary. So they're starting with their own employees because they have the most control over those employees, obviously. But we're definitely having conversations with a lot of large U.S. companies that are looking to implement the WFO tools against their shared services organizations and looking to their outsourced partners to implement that same set of tools so that they have a complete view of their business. Back to that enterprise discussion of covering everything from the beginning to the end, whether that process is happening in-house or with an outsourcer.
Now, what's interesting is in many industries, I think SSO might be included, people are actually one of the main causes of doing business. That much less attention is being given to optimize the process. What do you think is the reason behind this?
I think people see it as a little bit of a legacy of this is how we manage. A lot of times we have managers that have grown up managing an organization with a specific set of tools, and they're very comfortable with those set of tools. And now suddenly we're offering kind of the next evolution of that, and some people are comfortable doing that. Other people in organizations are not as comfortable adopting that. So I think we're at that front edge of adoption. I think everybody ultimately will have to do it in order to stay competitive, because if you think conceptually, if I adopt these concepts and I become 10, 15, 20% more efficient, I now have a huge competitive advantage over everyone else when I'm going out to try and market my outsource unit to an American company or a European company or wherever that organization may reside. So from a long-term strategic perspective, there's a tremendous amount of value to doing it, but it's getting people to see that vision and understand that that's what's coming, and that requires action today in order to be prepared for that tomorrow.
What important lessons can other organizations learn from Verint in regard to workforce optimization?
So I would say the most important lesson is to view it as a bit of a journey or an evolution. There's no big bang that can happen. It's a lot of change for an organization, so it needs to be incremental. It needs to come organically. It needs support from senior management. We find we're most successful when we have senior management buy into these concepts of WFO. And they're looking at it, they're understanding what they should be expecting out of the WFO solutions that they've implemented, and they're looking at a staging so that they're implementing pieces that derive some immediate value. At the same time, they're starting to implement the next phase to drive additional value. So there's an incremental step of investment and value that I think is critical to organizations adopting it, so that they're starting to see benefit early in the cycle as opposed to a big too long cycle where you don't see any benefit until the very end.
Well, very good lessons indeed. Thank you so much, Craig. We appreciate having you here.
My pleasure.